This episode is an ESL listening practice for intermediate learners. You will hear a natural conversation with clear pronunciation and everyday English. No tests, no pressure, just listening. Let's start.
Welcome to ESL Listening Practice, and we are super excited to have you with us today.
It is so great to be here.
We're going to show you how to turn YouTube, which, let's be honest, is usually just a black hole for entertainment and procrastinating.
Oh, totally. A time sink.
Yeah, a total time sink.
Yeah.
We're going to turn that into a structured personal language lab.
We're going to break down a system today, and I love this system because it actually respects your time as a learner. The whole philosophy here is deeper work with less content.
Deeper work, less content. I really love that. So instead of skimming through 50 different videos and remembering absolutely nothing,
Which is what most people do.
right, instead of that, we're going to master one. We've got a roadmap for you today. We're going to talk about how to select the right content, because there is a huge trap there that almost everyone falls into.
A massive trap, yeah.
We're going to talk about hacking the video player itself to physically train your brain. We're going to cover a secret weapon called shadowing. And finally, we have a very specific 5-step workflow that will just completely change the way you study forever.
It sounds like a lot of work when you list it out like that, but I promise once you get into the rhythm of it, it's incredibly intuitive. It just makes sense.
So let's just jump right into the first hurdle, the selection strategy,
Yeah.
or as I like to call it, finding the Goldilocks zone.
The Goldilocks zone, yeah. Not too hot, not too cold.
Exactly. Because let's be honest, when you open YouTube, what is the very first thing that happens?
The algorithm attacks you.
Right. The algorithm just throws a million shiny things at you.
And that is the trap of randomness. You have to remember, the YouTube algorithm doesn't care about your English fluency. It doesn't want you to learn.
It just wants your attention.
Exactly. It cares about retention. It wants you to click and stay. So if you just click whatever looks cool in the sidebar, you might end up watching, say, a chaotic vlog of someone running through a crowded market in London.
With the wind blowing into the microphone?
Wind noise, traffic in the background, they're shouting slang at their friends who are half off camera, talking over each other.
And for an intermediate learner, a B2 level learner, that is an absolute nightmare. Yeah. It's incredibly discouraging.
It really is. It prevents vocabulary building because there's absolutely no structure to it. It's just noise. To actually learn, you need clear speakers. And crucially, you need repetition of key phrases so your brain can actually latch onto them and recognize the pattern. Chaotic vlogs or, fast-paced gaming streams, they rarely give you that structure.
So we really need to be picky. We need a metric to decide what actually gets our attention and what we should ignore. And we have a very specific rule for this, don't we?
We do.
The 70-85% rule. Let's break that down for the listener. What happens if I'm watching something and I only understand, say, 50% of the words?
Well, if you are below 60%, you are in what we call the too hard zone. And psychologically speaking, this is super dangerous for your progress.
Why is it dangerous? Just because it's boring?
No, it's a physiological response. When you struggle to catch every other word, your brain spikes in cortisol. You literally get stressed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you feel stupid. You feel like you're failing. And when the brain is stressed like that, it actually shuts down the language acquisition centers. You stop analyzing the grammar or the vocabulary, and you just start panicking. You tune out.
It just becomes noise at that point. It's just this wall of sound English. You stop even trying to parse where one word ends and the next one begins.
Precisely. You're just surviving the video, not learning from it. Now, on the flip side, what if you watch a video and you understand 95% or even 100% of it?
Well, see, that feels great. That's a huge ego boost. I watch that and I feel fluent. I feel like I've totally mastered the language.
It feels amazing, yeah. But it is the too easy zone. And in language learning, comfort equals stagnation.
Stagnation, right.
If you already know every single word and every grammatical structure being used by the speaker, you are maintaining your level, sure.
Which is fine for review.
Right, it's fine for review. But you aren't climbing the ladder, you aren't stretching, you're not learning anything new, you're just nodding along to what you already possess.
So the sweet spot, the actual Goldilocks zone, is that 70 to 85% comprehension mark.
That is the growth zone. That means you understand the main ideas perfectly. You can follow the narrative story, or you can follow the logical argument they're making.
You know who is doing what to whom.
Exactly. You have the context, but, and this is the important part, there's specific words, maybe some phrasal verbs or complex sentence structures that make you pause.
You have to work for it a little bit.
That gap, that 15 to 30% gap of unknown material, is where the actual learning happens. Because you have enough context to guess the meaning, your brain is challenged, but it feels capable of solving the puzzle.
I really like that framing. It's a puzzle you can solve, not a giant brick wall you can't climb over.
Exactly.
It keeps you engaged without burning you out.
Yeah.
Now, once we know the level, there's this other idea of consistency.
Yeah. We highly recommend what we call the 3-channel strategy.
Okay, lay that out for us. What exactly are the 3 channels?
So you pick 3 specific YouTube channels and you stick to them exclusively for your study time.
Just 3.
Just 3. First, you want one listening focused channel. This is something educational, maybe a TED-style talk, a documentary channel, or an explainer video where the script is clearly written out beforehand and delivered smoothly.
Okay, so high quality, clear pronunciation.
Exactly. Second, you want one vocabulary-focused channel. This is an English teacher, or someone who is explicitly teaching the nuances of words, breaking down idioms, or explaining phrasal verbs.
So someone actually teaching the mechanics of the language.
And third, you want one natural conversation channel.
Like a podcast.
Like a podcast filmed on video, or an interview series, or a talk show, something where 2 or more native speakers are interacting spontaneously without a tight script.
Got it. And the key here isn't just picking the types of channels, it's the commitment part, right? You're saying I can't just jump around from podcast to podcast.
No, you need to pick these 3 specific channels, and more importantly, these specific hosts, and stick with them for at least 3 to 4 weeks, minimum.
Why is sticking to one host so critical? Why can't I watch 10 different cooking channels if they're all about cooking?
It all comes down to cognitive load. Every single human being has what linguists call an idiolect.
An idiolect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a unique personal way of speaking. It includes their specific regional accent, their personal speaking rhythm, the pitch of their voice, and their favorite filler words.
Like how some people say literally all the time or use like as a filler.
Exactly. When you switch speakers constantly, your brain burns a massive amount of energy just calibrating to that new voice.
Yeah.
It's like trying to tune a slightly broken radio every single time you watch a video.
That makes so much sense.
Right. But if you stick with one speaker for a month, you fully tune in to their voice. Your brain completely stops struggling to hear the mechanics of how they speak, which frees up all that mental processing power to focus entirely on the content and the new vocabulary.
Wow. It's like when you have a friend with a really heavy accent.
Yes, perfect example.
The first time you meet them, it's exhausting. You're leaning in, you're asking them to repeat themselves constantly, you're so focused on just decoding the words, but by the 3rd or 4th time you hang out, you don't even register the accent anymore.
You don't even hear it. You just hear their ideas.
Right.
And that is exactly what you want to achieve with your YouTube study. You want to reach that baseline level of comfort quickly so you can focus on the language itself, not the delivery mechanism.
Okay, so we've carefully selected our 3 channels. We are comfortably in the 70-85% Goldilocks zone. Now we actually have to sit down and watch the video.
The fun part.
And this is where we get into this concept of hacking the player. Because most people just hit play, sit back, and maybe they pause if they need to get a snack or something.
Yeah.
But you're saying the actual playback speed settings are a cognitive tool.
They are a massive, completely underutilized tool. Most learners just live at 1x speed, normal speed.
Right, because that's the default.
And that's fine for casual viewing. But if you want to actively accelerate your listening comprehension, you need to mess with the tempo. You have to manipulate the input.
Okay, let's start with slowing it down because that seems obvious. Step 1 is what you call the microscope, 0.75x speed.
The microscope, yes.
But I have to ask, why would I want to listen to someone sounding like they're moving in slow motion? I mean, it sounds weird. They sound drunk.
It does sound a bit drunk, doesn't it? The audio gets all distorted and drawn out. But here is exactly why it works, especially for B2 learners. English is a stress-timed language.
Stress-timed, meaning we focus on the rhythm of the stressed syllables.
Exactly. And because of that rhythm, we naturally smash our unstressed words together. We use what's called connected speech and assimilation.
Okay, give us an example of that.
So a textbook will teach you the phrase, "What do you want to do?"
Right. Very clear, every word separated.
But a native speaker in a fast conversation will almost never say it that way. They'll say, "What do you want to do?"
What do you want to do?
Yeah, it becomes one giant mashed up word. Exactly. What do you becomes wadaya, and want to becomes wanna. And at full speed, an intermediate learner just hears what I want auto, as one giant blob of sound.
And they probably think it's a brand new vocabulary word they haven't learned yet. They're frantically searching their mental dictionary for a word that sounds like, what are ya?
Exactly. And they get frustrated. But when you drop that YouTube player down to 0.75x speed, you are putting that audio blob under a microscope.
You stretch it out.
You stretch it out so you can actually hear the mechanics of the collision. You hear how that T in what transforms into a soft D sound or a flap T. You hear the vowels blending and reducing into schwa sounds.
So it's not about making it easier to understand the meaning. It's about auditing the phonetic sounds.
Yes. It allows you to audit the subtle sounds that you usually miss because your brain just isn't fast enough to catch them yet. You are literally training your ear to hear the invisible boundaries between words in fast English.
That is brilliant. Okay, so you do a pass at 0.75x speed to catch all those hidden mechanics. You analyze the phonetic data. Then, step 2 is going back to the baseline.
Right. 1x speed, normal speed.
Why do we need to go back?
Because you have to reestablish the natural rhythm and flow. You don't want to get used to the drunk, slow-motion voice. Now that you have analyzed the tricky sounds and you know exactly what words they are actually saying, you put those words back into their natural, fast context.
You prove to your brain that you can hear it at the intended speed.
Exactly. It's a confirmation step.
But then, and this is the part that I think really scares people, step 3.
Step 3 is where the magic happens.
The brain gym. 1.25x speed.
Yep, speeding it up.
Speeding it up. That sounds completely counterintuitive if I'm already trying to understand better. Why on earth would I make it harder and faster?
It is the exact same principle as a baseball player swinging a tremendously heavy bat while they're warming up before they step up to the plate.
Oh, I see. So when they pick up the regular bat, it feels light.
Exactly. If you actively train your brain to process English at 1.25x speed, you are forcing your auditory processing neurons to fire faster. You are building up your listening stamina.
So it's quite literally resistance training for your ears.
Precisely. If you can follow the general gist of an explanation video at 1.25x speed, then when you go out into the real world...
Where people speak incredibly fast.
Right, where people speak fast, they mumble, there's background noise. When you talk to a native speaker in reality, they will actually sound remarkably slow and clear to you.
Because you've been training in hyperspeed.
Yes. You are buying yourself reaction time. It reduces the panic in real-world conversations because your brain is used to a much harsher environment.
That is such a cool hack. It makes the messy real world feel manageable.
It's an intense exercise, I won't lie, but it builds listening confidence like absolutely nothing else.
Okay, moving on to segment 3 in our roadmap. This is what you've termed the secret weapon, shadowing.
Shadowing, yes.
Now, I've heard this term thrown around a lot in online language learning communities, Reddit, everywhere. But I think a lot of people just confuse it with simply repeating out loud.
They do, all the time. And the distinction between the two is critical if you want results.
Break it down for us. What is repeating them?
Repeating is what you do in a traditional classroom. Listen. Pause the tape. Repeat the sentence. Listen. Pause. Repeat.
Like repeat after me.
Right. And that's fine for memorizing a phrase. It's fine for basic vocabulary, but it does absolutely nothing to help you with flow or natural speaking rhythm.
So what is shadowing?
Shadowing is speaking with the audio continuously.
Wait, so there's no pausing at all?
No pausing, none. You are like a physical shadow. You are right behind the speaker, maybe a split second or a half second behind them. You play, say, 5 to 10 seconds of audio, and as they're actively speaking, you're speaking the exact same words over them, trying to match them perfectly in real time.
I'm not going to lie, that sounds incredibly difficult. It sounds chaotic, almost like trying to sing along to a rap song you barely know.
It is challenging. It requires total, absolute focus. You will be sweating. But the goal isn't just to say the right words. If you just read the words in a flat voice, you fail the exercise.
So what's the actual goal?
The goal is to copy the rhythm, the stress, the intonation, the emotion. You are trying to become an absolute vocal clone of that speaker.
So if the speaker in the video gets angry and raises their voice, you have to get angry and loud.
Yes. And if they suddenly drop to a whisper, you drop to a whisper. If they laugh nervously mid-sentence, you laugh nervously.
Acting.
You are mimicking the music of the language, not just the lyrics. English has a very specific melody, the way pitch rises and falls, and shadowing forces your mouth muscles to learn that melody.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But the mindset here has to be tricky, because if I stumble over a word, my immediate instinct is to stop, rewind, and fix it so I say it perfectly.
And you have to fight that instinct. You must focus on flow, not perfection.
What does that mean practically? What do I do when I mess up?
Don't stop. If you miss a word or you trip over a complicated syllable, just mumble it and immediately catch the next wave of sound. Just jump back into the stream.
Just keep moving.
Exactly. If you hit pause every single time you make a tiny mistake, you break the musical rhythm. The whole overarching point of shadowing is to stop the habit of translating in your head.
Oh, that's huge.
Right. You physically cannot translate from English to your native language and shadow the audio at the same time. It's neurologically impossible. You don't have the bandwidth.
Because it's happening too fast.
Exactly. It completely bypasses your internal translation filter. It forces your brain to process English as pure sound and immediate meaning without the middleman of your mother tongue.
I absolutely love that. Getting rid of the translation filter is the holy grail for intermediate learners.
It is.
Now, you also have a very specific physical tip for doing this exercise, which I found really interesting when we were preparing for this. You say we should stand up.
Absolutely. Stand up, walk around your room if you have to, pace the floor.
Why? I mean, I usually study sitting on my couch. It's comfy, I have my laptop on my knees.
And that's exactly the problem. When you sit hunched over a laptop, your posture is passive. Your diaphragm is physically compressed so you can't breathe deeply. Your overall energy is just low.
Okay, fair.
When you stand up, your physiology changes, your energy spikes, your voice projection instantly improves because your lungs can expand. You actually feel more confident.
It's like power posing.
It is. It completely tricks your brain into thinking, okay, I am performing right now. I am in active mode, not relaxation mode. It sounds a bit silly, but seriously, try shadowing a difficult paragraph while pacing around your living room aggressively versus being slumped back in a chair.
I imagine the difference in energy is pretty palpable.
It's night and day. You engage your entire body in the learning process, which helps lock in the muscle memory of the pronunciation.
And I assume you don't need to do this for hours, right?
Yeah.
Just talking about it sounds exhausting.
Oh, no. 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes.
That's all. It is incredibly mentally taxing. If you do it right, your brain will feel tired. 5 minutes of intense, fully focused shadowing is worth an hour of passive, relaxed listening.
5 minutes. Every single listener out there has 5 minutes a day. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to YouTube.
I know exactly where you're going. Subtitles.
Subtitles. Yes.
The great subtitle debate.
I know. It is so tempting. You open the video, you instantly see the text auto-generating at the bottom of the screen, and you just feel safe. It's a comfortable safety blanket.
It is a safety blanket, but we call this the lazy trap.
The lazy trap.
Yes, because if there are subtitles scrolling on the screen, your brain, which is evolutionarily designed to always conserve energy and choose the path of least resistance, will read them.
Because reading is easier than deciphering sound.
For almost all adult language learners, writing is significantly easier than listening. So if the text is there, you aren't actually listening to the audio. You are reading the text and just occasionally verifying it with the sound.
It completely turns a listening exercise into a reading exercise.
Exactly. You're defeating the whole purpose.
And it gets even worse, right?
Yeah.
Especially if those subtitles are in your native language.
Oh, that is the absolute killer of progress. If you are watching an English video with Spanish or French or Japanese subtitles turned on, you are fully shutting down the English thinking part of your brain.
You're just matching English noise to your native meaning.
Right. You are learning almost zero about the grammatical structure or the phonetic sounds of English. You're just watching a movie in your native language with a weird, distracting English soundtrack.
So what's the solution? Do we ban subtitles completely?
No, we don't want to suffer unnecessarily. We use what we call the subtitle protocol. It's a strict 3-round system.
Okay, walk us through the rounds. Let's say I have a 5-minute video.
Okay. Round 1, no subtitles at all. None.
The raw test.
The raw test. You play the clip. It might be a little scary. You will definitely miss things. But you need to establish a baseline of how much you can actually comprehend with just your ears. You have to train your brain to rely solely on the auditory signal.
Okay, so I watch it. I panic a little bit. I realize I only grasped maybe 70% of what they said. Then what?
Then you move to round 2. English subtitles turned on.
Only English.
Only English, never your native language. This is the diagnostic phase. You watch the exact same clip again, reading along with the text. This is where you connect the blurry sound you heard in round 1 to the actual spelling. You'll have these moments where you go, oh, that weird sound was the word thorough? I've read that word 100 times, but I never knew it was pronounced like that in a fast sentence.
Right. You fill in the blanks. You solve the mystery of what you missed.
Exactly. It's incredibly satisfying.
And then I think most people at this point would just stop there. They'd say, okay, I get it now. I read the text, moving on to the next video.
But you absolutely cannot stop there. If you stop there, you've just done a reading test. You have to confirm the auditory learning. That is round 3, no subtitles again. Turn them off.
The victory lap.
That's a great way to put it. You turn the text off, and you watch it a third time, and suddenly, magically, that confusing blur of sound that you struggled with in round 1, it is crystal clear.
You can actually hear the individual words separated out.
Yes. That aha moment is incredibly addictive. It proves to your brain neurologically that you can hear it. It builds massive, massive confidence.
That feeling of sudden clarity is honestly the best part of language learning. It's like the fog just suddenly lifts off the landscape.
And it really is.
So let's recap where we are. We've selected our video carefully. We've messed with the speed to train our ears. We've shadowed the speaker. We've managed our subtitles with a 3-round protocol. Now let's bring all of this together into a daily routine. You have this core concept you talk about. 1 video equals 5 lessons. This is the deep workflow.
This workflow is the core of the entire strategy. It's the engine. Most learners, unfortunately, treat YouTube videos like disposable snacks.
Just mindless consumption.
Right. They eat one little snack, they don't feel full, so they swipe to the next one and the next one. We want to treat a high-quality video like a full, nutrient-dense meal. We are going to squeeze every single drop of educational value out of it.
I love that. So step us through the workflow. Task 1 is vocabulary mining. But it's not just writing down a list of random words in a notebook, is it?
Absolutely not. Writing down isolated single words is practically useless for an intermediate learner.
Why is that?
Because knowing the translation of a word doesn't mean you know how to use it. Cat, run, table, who cares? You need to mine expressions and collocations.
Collocations, that's a great term. Remind our listeners what those are.
Collocations are words that just naturally live together in English. They are a married couple. For example, in English, you don't do a mistake, you make a mistake.
Even though in many other languages, the direct translation is do.
Exactly. Make and mistake are a strong collocation. You need to learn words in these natural chunks, not as isolated puzzle pieces. So, your specific goal in task 1 of the workflow is to watch your video and extract exactly 5 new expressions, 2 collocations, and maybe 1 natural sentence pattern that you thought sounded really native.
And then what? Just leave them in the notebook?
No, then you have to actually use them immediately. Task 1 isn't finished until you create original personal sentences using those findings.
Right. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Write them down in a context that matters to your own life. If you learn the phrase to hit the ground running, write a sentence about how you want to hit the ground running at your new job next week. Make it personal.
Okay, so that's task 1. Task 2 is the listening drill.
Yes. For task 2, you find the absolute hardest, most confusing 30 seconds of that entire video.
The part that made you want to cry in round 1?
Exactly. The part where they spoke way too fast or used slang or mumbled. And you isolate it. And you replay it 3 times, 5 times, 10 times if you have to, until you can understand every single syllable perfectly without looking at the subtitles.
It's just brute force listening.
It is. You are forcing your brain to decode a very dense, complex signal.
All right, task 3 we've already covered in detail, which is the shadowing practice.
Right. Dedicate 1 solid minute of that video to intense shadowing. But here is the key for the workflow. You repeat this specific 1-minute drill daily for 3 days.
Oh, so you don't just do it once?
No, you have to lock it into your muscle memory. By day 3, your tongue should know exactly where to go. You should be able to say it along with the speaker almost flawlessly with the exact same intonation.
Now, task 4 is where I think it gets genuinely scary, especially for the introverts out there. The speaking summary.
Yes, the no-look challenge.
Explain the no-look challenge.
You finish the video, you close your laptop, you put all your notes away so you can't cheat, and you have to explain out loud what the video was about.
To whom?
To the wall, to your dog, to your phone. Actually, recording yourself on your phone's voice memo app is crucial here.
Because it adds a little bit of pressure.
Yes, it simulates the pressure of a real conversation. Can you synthesize the information you just consumed and spontaneously produce it in your own words?
Without reading from a script.
Exactly. It forces you to reach into your brain, retrieve the new vocabulary you mined in task 1, and actually build coherent sentences with it on the fly.
And then you can listen back to the recording and hear your own mistakes, which is painful, but so helpful.
It's the best feedback loop you can get without a private tutor.
And finally, task 5, transformation. This is taking it to the absolute next level.
This is moving from a simple summary to actual critical thinking. Don't just act like a reporter and tell me what happened in the video. Tell me what you think about what happened.
So injecting your own personality into it.
Yes. For task 5, you create 3 discussion questions based on the video's topic. Then you formulate your own opinion. You give a 2-minute mini presentation arguing for or against the speaker's point.
Why is this final step so important? Why can't I just summarize and be done?
Because in the real world, you aren't just a parrot. You are an active participant in society.
Right.
When you go to a dinner party with English speakers, you need to be able to agree with people, politely disagree, persuade them, ask insightful questions. Task 5 forces you to produce English and use all that new vocabulary in a complex, argumentative context.
It bridges the gap between just studying a language in a lab and actually achieving fluency.
It really changes the entire game. You aren't just a passive student anymore taking notes. You're a powerful user of the language.
That is fantastic. This has been such a comprehensive, deep breakdown. As we start to wrap up, I want to circle back to the philosophy we mentioned right at the very beginning, the philosophy of less.
Yes. It is the ultimate antidote to our modern world. We are constantly drowning in endless content. But if you treat your English learning like a giant, cheap buffet where you just run around and taste a little bit of everything...
We'll never actually get full.
Exactly. You get overwhelmed, but you don't get nourished. You do not need more videos. You need deeper work with the videos you already have.
So taking one strong, high-quality video and studying it properly for an entire week using this 5-step method
is infinitely, exponentially more powerful than watching 20 videos passively while scrolling on your phone on the couch.
So if our listener actually follows this system consistently...
If you follow this, your listening genuinely improves because you are physically training the ear mechanics with the speed settings. Your vocabulary naturally expands because you are actively mining collocations instead of isolated words.
Your pronunciation gets smoother.
Yes, it becomes more natural because of the intense shadowing. And most importantly, above all else, your confidence grows because you are proving to yourself every single day that you can handle real, fast, natural English.
I absolutely love that. Now, before we go, I want to leave our listener with a final thought to chew on.
Yeah?
You mentioned this analogy earlier to me off air, and it really stuck in my head. The sports analogy.
Right, the sports analogy. So ask yourself this question. If you treated your English learning journey exactly like a physical sport, say football or tennis,
Okay.
would you be the person just sitting comfortably on the couch, drinking a beer, and watching the game on TV?
Which is what passive watching is.
Right. Or would you be the one out there on the field, in the dirt, running the difficult drills, sweating, and actually touching the ball?
Because watching the game is really fun, but it doesn't build any muscle.
Exactly. You can sit there and watch Lionel Messi play football in 4K resolution for 10 years straight. It will not make you a better football player. You physically have to get on the field and kick the ball.
And this 5-step system.
This system is you getting on the field.
That is so powerful. But I'll actually add one more thought to that, something we haven't even touched on yet.
Oh, what's that?
What if the goal of all of this, the shadowing, the vocabulary mining, the grueling listening drills, what if the ultimate goal isn't just to sound exactly like a native speaker?
Interesting. What is it then?
What if the goal is to discover who you are in English? You know, a lot of bilingual people say their personality slightly changes depending on the language they're speaking.
Oh, absolutely. The psychological shift.
Right. So by doing this deep work, by interacting with the language critically in Task 5 and forming your own complex opinions, you aren't just copying someone else's voice. You're actually carving out your own unique identity, your own English persona. You're figuring out how the English version of you thinks, argues, and jokes.
I love that. You're building your English self.
Exactly. So that is the perfect place to wrap up today. We want to challenge you, yes, you listening to this right now in your car or at the gym, pick one video today, just one single 10-minute video.
And apply this method.
Apply the method, don't binge watch, dive deep.
Good luck out there. The progress you've been looking for is waiting for you on the other side of this work.